What's up, guys, and welcome to my channel. I did a video before about being pregnant with PCOS, and I don't know if I'm gonna edit it and submit it, like upload it or anything like that. So I decided to go ahead and make another one. So currently I am, I think, 9 weeks and 2 days, or 8 weeks and 5 days. Honestly, I don't know. This is gonna go up. This is gonna be like from the time I found out I was pregnant to my first appointment. So I found out I was pregnant September 19th, and I don't know, I just randomly took a test. It wasn't like, oh, I think I'm pregnant. It was more like, hey, I'm about to sit down, watch Lifetime, and drink some wine. But before I do that, let me take this pregnancy test. So I took a pregnancy test, and it actually came out positive, and I was shocked. Like, I was shocked. And the only reason why I was shocked was because, like, I hadn't had a period in forever. Okay, like forever. I just had gotten diagnosed with PCOS in January. So my cycle was very irregular. It was close to non-existent, and I had just seen a new OB here where I live now, and they were just like, oh, well, you know, we can start you on provera, which will kickstart your period because you can't have one for so long, and that'll cause other issues. So we can kickstart your period with provera, and so that way you're not just bleeding in vain. We're gonna go ahead and give you some Clomid so you can release eggs as well. And I was like, okay, cool. So I didn't expect anything to happen, just because as soon as I started taking provera, that month, which was August, I ended up going to the Bahamas. So I'm in the Bahamas with my homegirl. I ended up getting really sick. I had COVID actually in the Bahamas, and getting really sick, came back home, and I was just dog sick. So I had to quarantine for 14 days, and that was fine and stuff. And afterwards, I continued my regular scheduled life, right? I work from home, so I really didn't have to go anywhere or anything like that. Luckily, I was able to take off of work, so that I can sleep and gather my thoughts and get my health back, right? And at this point, I'm not thinking like I'm pregnant or anything like that. But one thing that did happen in the Bahamas that kind of stuck with me was there was a baby, what do you call those little things? And I can see him, like a lizard. Yeah. Oh my God. So in the Bahamas, there was a baby lizard, and you know, my homegirl, she called the maintenance guy to come get it out of our room so she can sleep. And the maintenance guy was like, oh, are you guys from the Bahamas? And we're like, no. So he was like, oh, you know what they say about having the baby lizards around? And we're like, what? And he's like, oh, well, you know, that means that somebody's pregnant. So me and my homegirl look at each other, and she's like, it's not me. And I was like, well, it may be me, I don't know. But I just kept that in the back of my head. I was just being silly, not really thinking anything of it, because mind you, I had just had my period thanks to provera. So, you know, August goes by really quick. And I ended up taking a test in September 14th. Just because I'm like, okay, well, I'm cramping a lot. Maybe the provera just like kickstarted my period. So at this point, it was almost a month since my period. So I was like, okay, maybe the provera kickstarted it and it's about to come. But let me take this pregnancy test, just because I had bought like a 50 pack off of Amazon and I wanted to get rid of it. So I took one, it was negative, and I'm like, okay, whatever. And I continued to go about my day. So my boyfriend and I were on the way to Atlanta one weekend to check on my storage unit, and I just felt sick, like as a dog. I woke up and I was fine, and then I ended up going to McDonald's, which is really down the block. So as soon as we get in the car, I'm like, I feel bad. He was like, you feel bad? And I was like, yeah, I feel like I'm about to throw up. He was like, well, throw up. And I always feel like, I don't always feel nauseous, but since that time I had been feeling nauseous more than normal, right? So he's like, okay, well, throw up. And I'm like, no, I don't want to throw up. I hate throwing up. Like, throwing up is so nasty. So we stop at Walmart, at McDonald's, and I had already ordered on the app and whatever. So I get out the car and I go like in the corner, and then I throw up nothing. Well, I'm like gagging, right? And this is maybe TMI, but who cares? This whole video is TMI. So I'm like gagging and stuff, and I'm throwing up water, and that's the only thing that I had was water, because mind you, we was about to go to Atlanta, so I didn't eat anything. We were at McDonald's about to get lunch. So yeah, and I'm like, oh my gosh. So I get back in the car, he looks at me, he's like, are you pregnant? And I'm like, I don't know. And he's like, well, I don't know. And so I had Zaxby's that morning. Like, I had Zaxby's the day before, and I had a Zaxby's drink. So I was eating Zaxby's, well, I was drinking the Hawaiian Punch from Zaxby's. And then he was, my boyfriend was like, oh, well, you know, one time I had Zaxby's to drink the next day, and I ended up throwing up too, so it could have been the Zaxby's. So bam, we're blaming Zaxby's for me throwing up on that day. And that same weekend was the weekend that we were that we went to Atlanta, right? Okay. So then the next weekend we were in South Carolina because his girls had a cheerleading game. So we go out to eat, and I'm drinking, he's drinking, we're having a good time. And at this time, my sleeping pattern is so messed up. Like, I don't know why I can't get comfortable. I'm always hot, and I'm like, what is going on? Like, turn on the air. And it's just so, I just want to be home, because I can adjust my air here. I just can't adjust my air when I'm out, right? So I'm really annoyed, I'm really irritable, and I'm just like, yo, what is wrong with me? Like, I'm just in my feelings all the time now, and I don't like it. So that was Saturday, and then the next day was the 19th, and that's when I was like, you know what? And what really prompted me to take a test was on the way home from South Carolina, my boyfriend said something to me, and I just started crying. And I was like, what the heck? Get it together, Taylor. Like, do not cry. Why are you crying? And he looked at me like, I know you're not crying, because I typically don't cry, especially when he's joking. My boyfriend is a jokester. He jokes about everything, okay? And I knew he was joking, but I'm crying. So I'm like, oh girl, something's wrong with you. Like, something was really wrong with me, you know? And I thought, I'm like, am I depressed? Like, what is going on here? So no, I was just pregnant. Took a test when I got home, and then I told him, I was like, yeah, we're pregnant. He was like, yeah, right. And I was like, no, we are. So that's how I found out I was pregnant, all those symptoms and stuff. And I thought it was weird because I had just took a test on the 14th, and it was like negative as well get out. And then on the 19th, it was like super positive. So I'm like, damn, like I didn't even get a faint. I just went from no to hell yeah, right? So after that, I went to CVS. I went to CVS, and I got another pregnancy test, because the pregnancy strips that I had, again, I had gotten them from Amazon. They were like the cheapy ones, right? So I got an expensive one this time, and just to double check, and it was like, yes, plain as day, yes. And I showed the yes to my boyfriend, because sometimes guys don't understand what the lines mean. Like, they have to have it plain as day. Pregnant, not pregnant, yes or no. And then like, okay, it's just, I don't know what's wrong with them. So yeah, I ended up showing him the yes test, and then I immediately called my primary care doctor, and we set up an appointment. We got that all situated. We got me blood work that same week. Came back, yeah, you're pregnant. I was like, cool, I know I'm pregnant, cool. She says, okay, now I'm gonna refer you. Now I work with the VA, so I can't, the VA doesn't do like pregnancy or whatever. They have to give you an outside source. So that's what they had to do for me. And they called me maybe like the next week. I was like, yeah, we can't get you in until October, the first week in October. And I was like, all right, cool. And it was like, yeah, but we need to do an ultrasound just to make sure everything looks good. How many weeks are you? And honestly, I was like, I don't know. Like, I have no clue. I don't really have periods. And I didn't want to tell them that I was on provera because it started my period for me, you know. So I personally did not consider that a real period. So I was like, I don't know. My last period was March. Like, it came on naturally. It was March. And then she was like, oh, so you could be 20 weeks. You could be 9 months. You could be just pregnant. Okay, well, we're going to schedule you a test. An exam for the 22nd of October. And I was like, okay, great. So me, the type of person I am very patient. I lied. I am not patient at all, but I'm very nosy. Okay, I want to know everything. I want to know what's going on. I want to know that everything is good. I YouTube everything. I read everything. I want to know. So for me, I did use the last day of my period to determine like how many weeks I was and stuff. And I think in my previous video, I might insert like a clip or whatever to say how many weeks I was then. I might just put it somewhere in here. So I'm psyching myself out. So I knew that if I was regular, again, I'm looking down on my other phone because I didn't take notes on this phone. I took notes on the phone I'm actually on. I knew that if I was pregnant, I would get like a positive pregnancy test or whatever. So with using the Pre-Mom app, I can actually have pictures of my pregnancy test here. So I took a pregnancy test. I bought a lot of HCG tests off of Amazon. It was like $10 for like a pack of 50. I'm not tracking ovulation or anything like that. I was just tracking to see if I was pregnant. So I bought it off of Amazon. It came the next day. And I'm like, okay, well, this should work. So I'm taking it every day. Like one stick every day, negative, negative, negative. I started September 9th taking pregnancy tests, all negative. I didn't start using the app until September 13th. And of course, they're negative, right? So I don't know if you can see it there, but they're negative right there, you know? So they're negative. I took it on the 13th. I took it on the 14th. And this is when I started tracking. And I was just like, am I bugging? Like, why do I keep taking this test? So I kept taking the test because I found myself like crying for no reason, right? So I was crying. I was more emotional. My boobs were hurting. And okay. So when I hear YouTubers be like, oh, my boobs were hurting, they were just hurting. Like, I'm like, what does that mean? Like, what do you mean they were hurting? Was it like your bra was on and it was hurt? Like, what do you mean? So what I mean when I say my boobs were hurting, like I would have, right now I don't have a bra, because if I have on a bra, I feel like my boobs are suffocating. And when I take the bra off, my boobs drop. And I'm just like, oh, thank God. You know, like, that's probably TMI, but whatever. So, like, they just drop and they feel so much better with nothing on. And they were like tender to touch. And then no one tells you about your nipples, because baby, my nipples were like sore. They were just really sore. They felt like, now I have a son, so I know what it feels like when you're breastfeeding and then they're just sucking on the same breast for a long time, and then your nipple starts to hurt. That's what it felt like. If you have kids, then you know what I'm talking about, right? So it just felt like a really sore nipple, and I was like, oh my goodness, oh, don't touch. And my son kept hitting my chest. Oh, he's 5. And I'm just like, oh my goodness, I don't know what's going on with me. During this whole time, I was cramping. I was cramping like crazy. I thought like my period would come any second my period would come. I was having hot flashes. Like, mind you, I don't like the heat anyway, and it's summertime in Georgia. But in this house, we keep the air on, okay? We keep the air on. So even with the air being on, like, and the air is on 70, okay? So even with the air being on 70, I was still hot. I would be so hot. And it was always at night. And I was telling my fiance, like, look, I can't sleep with you because I'm hot. can't sleep with these covers because I'm hot. And he'd be over there freezing. And I'm like, but I'm hot. I'm having these hot flashes. And they were so annoying, like so annoying. And I didn't realize that I was using the bathroom more often because I like water. I drink water, and then I drink Red Bull. So I would drink like one thing of Red Bull every morning. And if you drink Red Bull, then you know Red Bull makes you go to the bathroom, right? Makes you pee like crazy, like you're drinking water. So those little symptoms I didn't really think about. Whatever, right? So what made me take a pregnancy test, and it was positive. And mind you, all this time I'm still taking a test, okay? So I'm like, and then the test is making me realize, like, oh, Taylor, you're not pregnant. You can have a drink. Oh, Taylor, you're not pregnant. You can have a drink. So I will say, mostly because remember, I tell you that anytime before I'm about to partake in like a drink or something, I would take a pregnancy test just to make sure, like, all right, you're not pregnant, because I don't want to end up on, I didn't know I was pregnant and start drinking and stuff because I had PCOS, you know? So, hey. So the 19th, if you can see that, can you guys see? Yeah, this is the 19th right here. That was my pregnancy test. That right here was my pregnancy test, and it's a positive. Now on camera, it looks so light. Oh my gosh, it looks so light. So in person, I was sitting there on the toilet, and I'm on my phone, and I'm playing a game, and I look over because I have it on the floor on a piece of paper towel. And I look over, and it's positive. I'm like, what? Like, I keep saying what because I was so confused, because just the other day, literally on the 14th, it was negative. And now on the 19th, it's positive. I don't know how many DPO I am, right? Because I'm not tracking anything. My last menstrual was August 13th. That was started by the Provera. So if we go off of August 13th, at this point, my period was supposed to start September 14th, because I'm on a 31 day cycle if I'm regular. But mind you, I have PCOS, so I don't know. So I'm just taking a test, and it's always negative. So I'm like, all right, cool. So on the 19th, I finally get that faint positive. Girl, I almost passed out, okay? I am 6 weeks and 4 days today. And do I really know how many weeks I am? I should be anywhere between 5 weeks, 4 days, to 6 weeks, 4 days. I'm somewhere in between there. I know I'm not 4 weeks or nothing like that. But I thought that I was maybe 8 or 7 weeks at that time, just because of the way my period calculator was set up, right? So I'm going based off that. So I go to the doctor on October 22nd. Go to the doctor October 22nd. It's me and my boyfriend. Now, let me backtrack. So before I go to the doctor, I go to Precious Glimpse 3D, 4D ultrasound, and they're here in Savannah. Go check them out. So I go to them, and I'm like, hey girl, I need an ultrasound. And she was like, okay, well, have you confirmed pregnancy? Yeah. And I'm like, yeah, I confirmed pregnancy, which I did. So she, does the ultrasound and stuff, and the baby pops up, and I'm like, oh, look at the baby. Now, mind you, I have a son who is about to be 6 next month, and I am not like a guru when it comes to ultrasounds or like what the baby's supposed to look like. This is only my second pregnancy. Like, this is not my second pregnancy. This is only like my second time going through the actual pregnancy and having to look at the ultrasounds and stuff. So she pops up with the ultrasound, and she's like, well, how many weeks do you think you are? And I'm like, oh, 9 weeks, 5 days. Ultrasound pops up, and I'm like, I don't look 9 weeks and 5 days. And I only said that because when I was pregnant with my son, I would go to get an ultrasound like every 3 weeks or every 2 weeks, just because I have really bad anxiety. And again, like I said, I want to know everything, and I want to make sure that he's good and his heart is beating and he's growing the way he should be. You know what I'm saying? I just want to know things. And I went, and I was like, yeah, I don't look 9 weeks and 4 days. Like, I'm supposed to be 10 weeks at my doctor's appointment, 10 weeks to 1 day, and now. So she's like, well, yeah, you're measuring on the ultrasound itself. It says 9 weeks, 2 days. So I'm like, that may be right, but it doesn't look right. So I come home and I find the ultrasound pictures from my son, and I also compare. So I compared the two ultrasound pictures together, and my son's ultrasound was 9 weeks, 6 days. And I'm like, yeah, this doesn't look anything like 9 anything. So I start Googling, like, what does the baby supposed to look like at 8 weeks, at 7 weeks? And then I'm like, maybe I'm 7 weeks, 8 weeks pregnant, because this doesn't look right. Like, it doesn't look right at all. So I go to my doctor's appointment and they do the ultrasound. And yeah, they find out that I am 8 weeks and 3 days at that time. Yeah, 8 weeks and 3 days. And I was like, yeah. So when I had my ultrasound, I was 8 weeks on the dot, which makes sense because the ultrasounds did not match. So, which means I just have to go back and get another ultrasound when I'm 10 weeks. But so I wasn't concerned at all about anything. The doctors just said, yeah, you look good, everything looks good. We're going to do a genetic testing. And I did take a sneak peek test, and the results came back that it was a boy. However, I thought I was 8 weeks when I took the sneak peek test. Okay, I thought I was 8 weeks, but I was really 7 weeks. 7 weeks and like 2 days, because I thought it was 8 weeks and 2 days, which means I was really 7 weeks and 2 days. So I thought I was 8 weeks when I took the test, came back and said it was a boy. But my doctor ordered a genetic testing for me just because I have a brother with Down syndrome. And she says that it will tell you the gender. So I'm going to take that and be like, okay, well, if it says we're having a boy, then 9 times out of 10, we're going to have a boy, because 2 tests says boy, and I'm just good for that. But I already scheduled my appointment at the end of November, early December, to find out via ultrasound if I'm having a boy or girl. So symptoms, let's see. Symptom wise, I just been really thirsty, like extremely thirsty, extremely tired, and really irritable. Thirsty, tired, irritable. I cry at the drop of a dime. I'm so emotional, which I usually am not. So emotional. Yeah, so my breast is hurting. And then cramps. Like, I told the doctor, I was like, yo, my cramps be crazy. Like, I mean, I don't want to take nothing because I understand I'm pregnant and my body is like stretching and stuff like that. And she's like, yeah, this is your second baby. Your body's going to be stretching and you're going to feel everything. I'm like, ooh, okay, everything. I don't want to feel everything. Not early, you know. I just want to be normal. But anyways, yeah, that's pretty much it. I told my son that I was pregnant. And he tells everybody that he comes in contact with that mommy's pregnant. He's like, mommy's pregnant. Do you know that my mommy's pregnant? Oh, I have something to tell you. My mommy's pregnant. And I'm like, thank you, Jeremiah. I appreciate you. But other than that, that's like my 0 to 9 week update, because every Tuesday, I am another week. So today's Monday, tomorrow's Tuesday. I am 8 weeks and 6 days today, which means I'm 9 weeks tomorrow. So yeah, I'm going to schedule another ultrasound just so that I can see baby at 9 weeks, 6 days and compare. Like, I'm really just comparing. I know every pregnancy is different, but I just love to see how the baby grows and what's different. And I don't know, I just love it. You know, I don't want to just, I love waking up and just be like, oh, you have a face today. Oh, that's so cute. But yeah, I'll be back for my 10 week, 9 weeks to 14 weeks. Yeah, I think that's enough time. 9 to 14 weeks, and then I'll of course be like, I had the gender test, the genetic test is what they call it. I had the genetic test, and then at 14 weeks, I'm going to get my ultrasound to find out what I'm having. So I'm gonna have that as well for you guys. And then probably a baby bump. I don't want to show my stomach now because I feel like I'm bloated. I'm cramping a little. And I have a little pudge, but nothing to show. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. Like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you guys next time. Bye.